So another thing I thought I would mention today was sometimes when we're little and as we're growing up, we start to put people in our lives into some place of importance. And not that they shouldn't be, but sometimes we put the wrong people on the little committee in our head that starts to dictate how we react to things. And Loretta LaRoche was just a crack up. I think she's still around. Pretty sure she's still around. Anyway, she was a crack up. She had this uh, term called the committee that's like basically a little boardroom in your head of all these people in your life that were influential in one way or another, good or bad, that you remember as having told you something, again, good or bad. So sometimes when we're in the middle of something, we're hearing somebody else's voice in our thoughts and our memories of, I'm not talking about hearing voices like schizophrenia and stuff. That's completely different. But hearing somebody in our past say, hey, you're doing that wrong, or how come you're doing it that way? And sometimes we hear good stuff like, hey, you can do this because I know you can do this because you did it before, and way to go, that kind of thing. Hopefully we have more of that kind than this kind, but frequently that's not the case. Frequently we have a lot of the negative kind. I'm not going to do it this way because a mom would be mad or whatever, So you have all these people on your committee. So if you think about it, imagine like a little boardroom table in your head with all these people sitting around it, and somebody's the CEO of that boardroom. So who is that? What is it that you hear the most? Sometimes it's your mom or your dad or your uncle or your grandma or somebody of importance that was like the beginning of the boardroom that's who started the whole committee. And as you grow up, you have more people in your lives. Maybe it was a teacher, maybe it was a coach, maybe it was a boss, maybe it was somebody, a friend who ends up on this committee in your head. Now, the trick is to go through that little boardroom, that little committee in your head, find out who's a positive influence and who's not. And the ones that aren't, fire them. They don't need to be there. Replace them with somebody else who's more positive. It doesn't have to be anybody that you actually knew. It doesn't have to be anybody that's still alive. It can be some Abraham Lincoln or George Washington or something like that. You can replace them with anybody that you admire. And when you're talking about admiring people, it's not about how much money they have or what kind of car they drive and that kind of stuff. That's different. That's more along the envy line. We're talking about admirable qualities, character traits that these other people have that you admire in them that you would like to incorporate in your own life. And so you put those people on your little committee in your head, the little boardroom, and then you have a better chance of adopting those kind of traits that they have that way than if you have all this other, this negativity and these negative influences on the boardroom, around the table in the boardroom. So find out who those people are, and then find a way, usually through therapy or some kind of training from like maybe a life coach or something, to find a way to replace them, to fire them, or if you can't do that, to try and find something positive about them that they had said to you in the past. So let's say it's your mom. Not just picking on moms, just because that's usually that's usually the earliest influence is a parent of some kind. So let's say it's a parent. So that parent is on your committee in the boardroom of your head, and all you can remember about that is negative stuff. That they would get mad at you for not doing this, or they'd call you stupid, or they'd, something like that. If you don't want to fire them completely, which probably would be the healthiest way, is just to like cut them out of your mind, as far as them dictating what you do and dictating your actions and your emotions. You can find something about them that was positive and try to replace those negative statements from that person with the positive ones that you remember them saying. It's not always possible, which is why sometimes it's easier just to fire them. Maybe they can come in with a cameo later on down the line with something positive, but replace them with positive influences. And that's why it's really important to find positive influences. And a lot of times there aren't a lot of positive influences immediately visible. You have to look for them. And what we watch, what we listen to, music and talk radio or whatever, that kind of stuff isn't always a positive influence. Sometimes it makes our anxiety worse. Sometimes it makes our depression worse. Or if we don't have it, that's what we get from it, you know. So finding a way, first you have to identify who it is that's on your little committee. Some people have a really big, long boardroom table, and some people just have like a little kitchen table full of, you know, like 3 or 4 people. And as you're going through your day, you're thinking, you know, I'm going to do this. And you think, no, I can't do that because so-and-so would be mad, even though they're not around, even though they've been dead for 20 years or whatever the case may be. You just think, oh, well, I'm going to get in trouble for it. Well, from who? From the committee in your head. So find out who those people are. Find positive influences, positive things that they may have said, and replace what they're saying in your head. Or find positive influences and replace those people. I know it's kind of weird and disjointed, but if you think about it, think about something that comes to mind frequently that somebody else might have said in your life. And you think, well, who was that? And it might not be a specific saying. It might be just a feeling. You know, I had a kindergarten teacher or a first grade teacher or whatever that made me feel special. Well, how did that person make you feel special? Oh, well, they did this, this, and this, or they complimented me, or they encouraged me, or they did whatever. So you want to put people like that on your committee. So those encouraging kind of people, how you feel. Or you had a third grade teacher who was a retired Army sergeant who used to get mad and yell and smack people with the yardstick. True statement. Those kind of people cause you stress, and they belittle you, and they they tell you that you're not worth it, and they tell you that you're stupid and things like that. Replace them, fire them, find somebody else that you can put there, somebody else down, you know, maybe further in your life that you found that you can replace that person with. Positive statements. You're going for positive people on your little boardroom, you know, committee. So it sounds disjointed, and frankly, if I get home and edit this and it sounds really bad, you'll never see this. So who knows? It's hard to say. So anyway, that was it, real quick. So I guess I will let you mull over that for a bit because, oh, and actually, this is who I was talking about. Loretta LaRoche. She's really funny, and she's still around, I believe. I think she's in her late 80s or something like that, mid 80s. And if you can find her on YouTube or something, or a CD or something, she's hilarious. So, and I'm not trying to rip her off. It's just something that came up in another conversation today. So anyway, so that's it. Just thought you'd like to know that. So there you go. Talk to you later.